Welcome back. You're still watching Media Monitor. Remember, you can be part of our discussion by contacting us on the numbers that appear at the bottom of your screens. Not forgetting Twitter and Facebook. Let's take Gugu from Westgate. Gugu, good morning to you and welcome to Media Monitor. Go ahead with your comment. Good morning, Gugu. All right, I think we seem to have lost Gugu. Let's move on to our next story. Shockwaves went across the country when the announcement by DA leader Helen Zille was made that Agang SA founder and leader Dr Mamphela Ramphele had accepted her invitation to stand as DA presidential candidate in the 2014 general elections. Last year, Ramphele launched her political party. Her move to the DA is a blow to Agang members. This will be the first time that DA, South Africa's main opposition party, will field a black candidate for the presidential elections. Let's take a look at this clip.
I know Mamphela as a principled, fiercely determined person. Believe me, I do know her as a fiercely determined person who loves our country very deeply and devotes her life to the cause of making our democracy work and ensuring that we become what we have the potential to be. I can think of no better person to be our presidential candidate in this crucial tipping point election than Dr Mamphela Ramphele. Welcome, Mamphela.
We are coming together to fulfill the promises of 1994 and restore our journey to the country of our dreams. Together, we are greater than the sum of the parts.
We still have to sit down, analyze the whole situation, get to know the imperative aspect in terms of the announcement that has been made. And as the collective will then be able to give that position.
Well, panel, what do you think? What do you make of this? What was your reaction to the media reports when you first heard about the possible merger between Agang and, of course, the DA? Vuyo, let's start with you.
Well, I was like, oh, interesting. But that's not as best as I can put it. Look, it raises quite a number of questions. Well, first of all, I don't think you can falter the DA for trying to sort of reinvent itself, to come up with new and interesting ways I mean, this is the biggest opposition party by far. It is the fastest growing. It's been growing consistently, you know, from the time they had like 7 MPs back in 1994 to about 60-odd people that they have today. So give them credit for working hard to be where they are. But that said, okay, maybe a point I need to make also, there are people who will just never be happy with what the DA does, in the same way that there are a lot of people who will never be satisfied with whatever Jacob Zuma does, for example, because they just don't like him, you know. And the same goes for the DA, that people will never vote and don't like the DA, so they will say all manner of things. So I think democracy. Give them credit for being innovative, you know. But is it a, you know, big deal, groundbreaker or whatever? I just don't think so. I think for the DA, it might be, in that they've taken it a step. A lot of people's nose is out of joint, you know, because they are no longer the stars, or Dr Ramphele may be the new star. So, you know, that sort of rubs them up a wrong way. You know, that's to happen in a political party. But in terms of the big picture, you know, and what's happening in the country, I just don't think that it should be elevated to the extent that many people, starting with the opposition party's leader, Helen Zille, saying this is what of national importance, and so I don't think it's a big story of national importance. Yes, for the DA, it was a big story, and whether it's going to yield some results, I have my own views, but I don't know.
Let's look at the way the media have reported on this as well, and this is where my disappointment comes in. It looks like the whole idea of, don't let the facts get in the way of a good story really seems to be prevailing. Both the DA and the Congress of the People have experienced people coming up offering views on behalf of the parties that they're no longer members of. And why is, it's very simple for a journalist. Call the Secretary General or whatever they call them and find out if a person is a real member of the party, then get their opinion. Mamphela Ramphele had to stop somebody on a radio during the week because this gentleman who, said he was a party of the member, was not a member of the party. And she, good for her, she refused to engage that gentleman. The Congress of the People have been going to court 14 times. They've won with people who, essentially call them former members. Call them disgruntled former members. You have a point there. But don't take opinions from people who are not members of the party.
So it's actually correct. The sort of standards tend to be lowered somewhat when it comes to opposition parties generally. Because then, God is going to take someone on, if they say something or they quote somebody, who's no longer, say, associated with the ANC. But the same rules don't apply when it comes to opposition parties. This is correct. A lot of that happened this week where people didn't go to, some of them went underground, like the spokesperson, but it doesn't sound like, it didn't look like like enough effort was made to actually get people who are like office bearers of Agang to find out whether they knew about this, and if so, how much did they agree. It came like as a shock to most of them as well. And so on. But there were no names, attached to these people were shocked, except members, general members.
Yes, it was general members,
true. Shocked. Or some villagers in Limpopo where she launched the party were also shocked. But what happened? Where were the other office bearers?
The bottom line is she did it in an extremely bad way. She didn't consult with the members. She didn't tell Thabo Leshilo, who's a spokesperson,
but wasn't that the whole point of this thing, so that it shocked everybody? I think they actually received the desired effect.
You don't do things like that. If you want to take Agang members with you and merge with the DA, you need to consult and you need to take them along with you. Having said that, I think it is of national importance. I think for too long we've been in ghettoized racial parties and blocks. I think this has huge potential, except for the fact that now Mamphela is not behaving herself. She's very confused. Is she in the DA or isn't she in the DA? She now says, I'm not standing as part of the DA, but in fact there are kisses and hugs between her and Zille.
And we're going to talk.
She's behind her DA. So she's very confused. I think it's because she left her party behind and the party started grumbling. She's backtracking. She must make up her mind about what she's doing and stop confusing the South African public.
Isn't it a fact, though?
All right, panel.
Isn't it a fact, though, that everyone who's in that party followed her? Everyone who is in that party was listening to what Dr. Ramphele was saying. And
let's focus on the media here. Let's focus on the media. Let me take Gugu from the West Rand. Gugu, a very good morning to you. Welcome to Media Monitor. Go ahead with your comment.
Morning, Alicia. Beautiful program. The angle that I think the media is missing on this DA thing, they keep on saying DA is growing, DA is growing. They are not telling us exactly how it's growing and giving credit to where the growth is coming from. Because if you are absorbing people, to me that's not growth. That's going around swallowing and swallowing and swallowing. Tell us they've absorbed Patricia de Lille, they've taken this from Patricia de Lille, they've taken this, they've taken this. Then that way we'll have a clear picture of what exactly is happening. Educate the public. For example, the other angle that I'm thinking that the media is missing, when you're talking about the protest, go in, zoom in on these young children with the problems of drugs in this country. Zoom in on these young children, the 15-year-olds, the 17-year-olds, they're supposed to be in school. Let us, the mothers and the fathers, talk about the water. Go to school. Zoom in them. Show us they are drunk. They've been using Yauba. They're doing this. They're destroying the infrastructure. Then, instead of the media showing the real problem of the society, that this is why our protests are this bad. Because protests are our constitutional right, but not to have our youngsters leading us and their parents when they are drunk.
Thank you,
Gugu. Let the media zoom on that and educate the population.
All right, Gugu. All right.
On protest drunk.
All right. I'm afraid we have to leave it there. Thank you so much, Gugu, there for your heartfelt comment. Well, after the break, we'll read your tweets and also discuss what we anticipate will be the most talked about topics for this coming week. Stay tuned to SABC News. We'll be back shortly after this. This is Media Monitor.
SABC News plays a critical role in providing unbiased and reliable news. We have a well-established reputation of uncovering, reporting and delivering news. A significant growth in popularity of our news demonstrates the demand for our news content. We continue to provide unrivaled coverage of vital events in and out of the country. Wherever the news is happening, we'll be there to bring them to you at the right time. No one has the news covered like SABC News. We lead and they follow. SABC News, Africa's news leader.
Welcome back to our final segment of Media Monitor. Now, panel, very quickly, what do you anticipate will be the leading stories of this week? Glenda, let's start with you.
I still think Mamphela Ramphele, I think she's gained by joining the DA. And I think she must just come clean about what she's doing, and hopefully the media will help to clarify this if she speaks out clearly about, at the moment she seems to be lacking conviction about what she's doing. That's very unfortunate, swaying backwards and forwards. You want to see some clarity.
Thank you very much, Glenda. All right, so very quickly, Vuyo.
Well, I think the strikes in the Platinum Belt, I mean, it's a huge story from whatever point of view, political, economical, from a labor perspective. So it's going to be a huge story, and I think the election campaigning is also going to gain momentum, especially
Shani,
this week.
One word.
I think opposition politics.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, panel. You've been fabulous this morning. Our viewers' contributions and suggestions is highly valued. Remember, you can email us your views about the show at mediamonitor@sabc.co.za. Share your views and comments on Facebook at go to www.facebook.com/Media Monitor and like our page. You can follow us on Twitter at SA Media Monitor. Thank you so much for watching Media Monitor. Join us again next week, same time, same place. That is right here on SABC News, Africa's news leader. For myself, Alicia Jali, and the rest of the Q-Tiv team, have yourself a good day and stay blessed.